Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel for the latest update on Hardendale, my N-gauge microlayout based on the limestone quarries in Cumbria. In this video I get the track relayed, add some background scenery, make an engine shed, and also add some walls. So as a quick reminder, as it was a while ago since I did the introduction to this layout, Hardendale is based on a real location, the Hardendale limestone quarry and kilns in Cumbria near Shap, and is served by a branch off the West Coast main line. The real location is obviously a bit bigger than the space I've got here, but I'm trying to get the main features included and try and get as close to the real operations as I can in the space I've got available. In the last video, I mentioned I was redoing the layout on a scale model scenery baseboard after the original box file warped. And so I've very quickly got the layout back to where it was on that original box file. Most of the track is from the original layout. I just removed that by wetting the ballast and lifting it carefully, and then glued it into place on the new baseboard. For the fiddle yard, I've used a scale model scenery fiddle yard board, which is designed to fit this particular baseboard. However, I did have a couple of issues with it. What I didn't realise was that when I bought the baseboard, that it didn't have any sort of pre-drilled holes for connecting to the fiddle yard. I guess it's kind of assumed that if you do want to do that, then you'll buy the sides that do have the pre-drilled holes. But yeah, it would have been easier if they'd had the holes drilled anyway. I think because it's got this sort of back seam bits at the side, it's assumed that you're not going to connect it to anything else, which sort of makes sense. But yeah, it'd be nice if the holes were pre-drilled. And so I had to line up the two boards myself and drill my own holes to kind of make sure they all kind of bolted together and was nice and secure. But yeah, I think if I was doing this again, I'd just get the pre-drilled boards just in case. And the other alteration I had to make to the baseboards was to sort of widen the central hole, which the electrical connectors go through, as the joiners that I was using were a little bit too small to fit through, which was easily done with my jigsaw cutter. With the boards now nicely lined up and nice and flat, I just glued the recovered track in place with a little bit of PVA glue, and as it was setting, sort of carefully made sure that the track was all nicely aligned on the two different boards. For the electrics, I've soldered droppers to every bit of track to ensure that the locos have got the best possible chance of picking up connectivity and less likelihood of things stopping due to not being able to pick up the current. And they're all sort of connected to the bus wires running through. I've also wired up the unifrog points, again to kind of reduce chances of locos stopping, and I've also got the Sentinel run on this, which is quite a short wheelbase. So yeah, the frogs are powered as well. And to control that, I've added a small control panel at the base to control it. The background bank has been removed from the original. Managed to rescue that and transfer it across. But the new board is longer than the original, so I had to add a few more sections, again using masking tape. The end didn't lift quite so well, the end board, or the end bank, sorry. So I've used some foam inserts that I had left over and just kind of glued those down, covered them with a little bit of polyfiller, and then sort of painted it brown before covering in the scatters like all the rest of it. With the layout now at the same stage as it was before I moved it, it was time to add some new bits. Firstly, I wanted to add the small engine shed that you see on the prototype. It is quite a simple affair and was fairly easy to make. I dropped the various pieces in Inkscape, taken the measurements from Google Maps, and also some of the other engine sheds I had for things like the width and the door height. And this was then sort of glued together. I glued some, printed off and glued to some Slater's textured plastic card, and then cut out, and then just easily assembled. Once assembled, sprayed it with some grey acrylic, and then added a downpipe using a bit of a ratios kit. I wanted the shed to be removable, as inevitably an engine will get stuck in it, and I'll need to clean the track in there as well at some point. But I also wanted the shed to be sort of embedded in the scenery, and so to enable that, I tried a technique I'd seen a couple of years ago, and I've been meaning to try. So what I did was I covered the engine shed in cling film, and then placed it where I wanted it, and then applied glue and ballast along the edge of the shed. Then let this dry, and then just lifted the engine shed out, and what that left me with was a nice little shoulder of ballast that perfectly fits the engine shed. So I was quite pleased with that. The shed also sits on a concrete base, and so I thought I'd try and replicate that too. And to do that, sort of glued a strip of plasticard along the base of the shed, and also glued down some plasticard onto the ballast using a little bit of PVA glue, which was measured to fit the shed. And together, I think it gives a nice impression of the concrete base in the prototype, being one continuous bit of concrete. And it's got a really nice sort of satisfactory fit as you remove the shed and put it back in place again. It all fits together quite nicely. And beside the shed, I've also added some buffer stops from Pico, and a small bit of fencing, again as per the prototype. And I've also added some dry stone walling from Jarvis that I painted in a few different shades of grey. Added a little bit of green moss in places as well. Not entirely happy with the walls. They're a little bit too uneven for the look I was going for. I was for something that's a little bit less run down, I suppose. But yeah, they'll do for now until I find an alternative. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm up to with Hardendale. So if you enjoyed this update, please let me know. Maybe leave a like. And I'll see you all next time.